start applauding, start going crazy, go mental and welcome to the stage, Damien. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Honestly, thank you so much. It makes a huge difference for people coming. You know, like it just makes the show so much better. Trust me, I've done the Adelaide Fringe. I did the Adelaide Fringe in a tent next to a Ferris wheel. Yeah, so when I bombed, you could hear people having more fun outside. People enjoying themselves more. Last night, people sat in the front row wearing bibs. And I said, why the fuck are you wearing bibs? And they were like, oh, we've been eating crab. I'm like, there's too much freedom, isn't there? There's such a thing as too much freedom. We'll eat crab, we'll wear the bibs, we'll go to a comedy show, yay! Bring back fascism, crush them. Anyway, look, bad start. Let's keep it light this year. I'm not going to get too heavy this year at all. I'm going to keep it light, keep it fun. That's what the suit is about. I'm trying to appeal to a broader audience now. I'm trying to get bigger as a comic. Dress for the job you want. So obviously I want to work on the project more. This is obviously what they wear on that. No, I am trying to get a little bit more, you know, I don't know, I just want to keep it light and fun this year, and I think the suits are quite a good, I think, you know, it's a deep colour, a dark purple colour, it's a very feminine colour, and I think men are going to be more feminine. I think we should be more feminine. I think as culture progresses, men will become more and more feminine, and I actually see liberty in that. You know, I have a friend of mine who's very feminine, he's very camp and straight. Does anyone have that friend? The camp straight friend? You know that guy? He's like, oh my god, when are the girls getting here? Seriously. Guys, Lindsay Bianca get in here, she's fucking hot. She's so fucking hot, I love girls. It's like, dude, what the fuck, you're camp? You're straight! I've known that guy his entire life. I went to primary school with him. He was born camp. Not gay, but camp. That means campness is genetic. Campness is passed on in human beings. It evolved as a trait in us for some reason. Why did campness evolve? Was there a tribe running from a tiger and one dude was like, woo, tiger, what's up? It's fucking shitty in the jungle, it sucks. Steamy, it's too much. The tiger was like, whoa, run, he's wearing leopard skin, go. We're meant to be campers, man. That's our natural state. Look throughout history. In the Restoration era, the fucking Victorian era, men wore ruffles and wigs. Shakespeare wrote plays. You know, really camp, like, with a feather, to be or not to be, oh, and all this sort of shit. We're meant to be campers, man, but for some reason there was a transition in culture, you know. Like in the male in the species in nature is always camp. Like the peacock. That's the dude. Woo! Yes! Woo! Yes! Oh my god, yes! Woo! Have you seen the woman? It's a little brown. G'day mate, how are you? Good to see you. Woo! Thanks mate, cheers, like a little truck driver. Good to see you, bloke. We're meant to be camp. There was this transition in culture, in modern culture, where through commercial advertising and movies where suddenly being a man became about I'm gonna fucking punch a bridge! I got a fucking brick, you dog! I'm a man, I've got a spanner! We're meant to be campers, man. You can see the cultural transition. You can see the cultural confusion in Irish dancing. You can see it because the top half's like, what are you fucking looking at? The bottom half's like, stop it, legs, you pull. I see liberation in it. Like I'm watching that horror film that's out at the moment with my camp friend the other day, and he's emoting. Watching it. oh my God, oh! Like this and shit. I'm sitting there fucking keeping it all in so I can drive my ute off a cliff years later. I believe in the matriarchy. There, I said it. I believe society would be better for men if women ran it. I think, just wait. I think it's extremely patronising that men think that there couldn't be a matriarchy. I think, do you know what a matriarchy is, sweetheart? That's where you run society. Okay, sometimes they don't. No, it can be very patronising, and I hate that. And just checking in, and I base it on science. Like, you know, there's a chimp called the bonobo chimp. And that's a primate species where women run society, and it's the most peaceful primate on the planet, including us. And the women gang up on the men, and they resolve conflict not with violence, but with sex. So when the men get all testosterone, they're like, oh, the women run over and jerk him off. He's like, oh, what was I thinking? And society runs beautifully, you know. Anyway, just an idea. Ideas I'm putting out there. That's what this show's about. It's anyway, a bit of light, fun stuff there at the top, a lot of movement, and we're all having a good time and so on. But if you've seen me before, you know, often I have a pseudo-intellectual wanky through line that sort of is shoehorned into the show to tie it together, and or a story about a Muslim woman. But not this year. I don't want to do that this year. I want to get on commercial TV. I do. I want to get bigger. You know, I need to start getting bigger, like broader Australia. I feel this real urge as a comic to get bigger. You know, like I need to start. Like I've got the inner city, left-leaning, middle-class elite. Thank you for coming. But I want to get the bigger, like, you know, the broader Australia. The fucking Married at First Sight's good. Like that kind of. You know, like the reason democracy's failing, I want them to come and start, come into my show, please. You know, I supported Peter Hellier recently, and I watched him interact with his fans. I saw a fan go up to him and go, Hellier, you're the funniest cunt. When am I going to get him? When is he going to come? When I start getting those sort of fans, you know. Like last year's show was dark and not funny. Which is a horrible combination, isn't it? To send people out into the night just confused and suicidal. Like, what's the point of anything? It's not a comedy show anymore. So I just want to keep it upbeat and keep it fun this year. You know, after last year's show, to give you an idea, I had a TV producer come up to me after watching the show and go, oh, I saw the show tonight. Would you be interested in writing on a drama series about murder-suicide? Which I did, and I'm surprisingly good at it. So nothing too heavy this year, nothing too deep. I don't want to get too deep. I was going to make the show about Plato's allegory of the cave. Which is the idea that if you were imprisoned in a cave from birth, you would believe the shadows on the cave wall to be reality. Not knowing there's a real world outside the cave, you would believe the illusions of the shadows to be reality until, of course, the man escapes the cave and sees the real world and leaves the shadows behind. And you could almost argue that our dreams and beliefs in society, they're like the shadows on the cave wall. They're illusions that we are compelled by, but they prevent us from seeing the deeper truth outside the cave. But not this year. I don't want to get bogged down in that shit, so I'm trying to do more observational comedy, stuff that's, you know, more like, you know, not that I'm not broad, but just, you know, like stuff like, oh, have you seen buses? You know, like stuff that, you know, like fun stuff, like, you know, they always do that sort of, you know, oh, there's a bus, and, you know, they add other stuff to it. They don't just go, there's buses. I'm not very good at it yet, but, you know, I've seen buses. Yeah. It's family. I've got loads of gear on family this year, loads of stuff on family, very relatable stuff. Hence, have you ever been a member of a family? Yeah, We're gonna love this stuff, man. I've got loads on family this year. Without getting too dark, my family is a waterfall of trauma. It just flows through the generations. My granddad fought in World War II. He came back from that unimaginable horror. Grandma was like, "What happened?" He was like, "Oh, nothing." We just sat in the basement going, "I'm fine!" Like that. And he passed all that on to Dad. All of that trauma, so my dad's fueled by panic. My dad's just going, "What's going on? Where'd you put the car? Where's the dog? Park the dog. What's going on? Go, we gotta go! Where are we?" My dad's just going all the time, "We gotta go! Let's go, do something, we gotta go! My dad's running through life, trying to get it done like a job. That's how my dad treats life, like a job to get done. You get born, you grow up, you meet someone, you get married, you have kids, retire, dead, good, done. And fuck, I got that life job done. What's next? Looks like the afterlife needs a mow. Let's mow the afterlife. Let's get that done. Next job to get done. That's what I grew up around, a constant sort of panic and terror. My dad and my mum, they're both the same. They fuel each other's neurosis. You know, that's what me and my brothers, 4 boys in regional Queensland, growing up in a family obsessed with motorsport and rugby league. That's what I grew up around. Go, we're all going, fuck! That's how my parents were. I'll give you an idea. It's just a little anecdote that I think, like, I remember bringing my son up to meet my parents, and, you know, I was feeding my son porridge, and I put jam on the porridge, and he didn't eat much of it. This is how like neurotic my parents are. I'm walking down the hallway, and I don't know if you've ever been attacked by someone eating porridge. My dad's running at me, eating the porridge my son didn't eat. "Dave, why isn't Patrick eating more fucking porridge?" Like they've worked themselves up. "Patrick isn't eating enough, fuck, eat more porridge!" Like eating it at me. "Why isn't he eating more? Why don't you put a bit of honey on it?" I was like, "I don't know, Dad, I put a bit of jam on it." "Oh, jam!" Like he was angry at the condiment. "Oh, jam! Fuck jam!" He hated jam. "Oh, fuck jam!" That's what I grew up thinking. "Oh, honey's better than jam. Definitely honey. It's got to be honey." This is a very toxic and competitive environment that I grew up in. And you know, people talk about escaping. There's different ways you can escape that kind of thing in life. I mean, I started smoking pot when I was 13. This is how much I smoked. I remember looking out the family window and the hose had gotten so short from me making bongs out of it that I remember seeing Dad going, "What's the fucking hose? Used to go to the fence!" That's the thing, I'm trying to understand now why, you know, me and my brothers are so fucked up. I said that, you know, I'm trying to understand my dad. And I said, "Dad, what was your relationship like with your dad?" And he goes, "Damien, that's fucking bullshit. All that. What's my dad got to do with me?" I was like, "I don't know, Dad, did he ever say anything to you that maybe impacted you?" He goes, "I don't know, Dane. One time he said I was his biggest disappointment." I'm like, "Dad, that's significant." That's why I don't blame my parents. You know, I don't blame them at all, because compared to their parents, they're fucking killing it. Compared to that generation. Like my parents, well, I'm from the generation that got hit as kids. Like we'd get hit, my dad would give us a cloud under the ear, he called it. He'd be like, whack, he'd be like, "That's nothing. That's nothing." My dad used to whip me with a belt. And now I'm a parent, like, I'd never hit my son. But sometimes when I raise my voice, he cries. And I'm like, "That's nothing." My dad used to hit us. And when my son has kids, and by then, you know, they're in a weird eye orb, that's what they'll call it, an eye orb, and it's just an orb of screens, there's like movies and pornography and chat windows, and they're just in there going, just consuming me, there's a food pipe, ding ding ding, And my son looks at his son and his son goes, "Daddy, don't look at me, that's a violent visual attack." You'd be like, "That's nothing." My dad used to raise his voice sometimes. And I'd be like, "Oh, the horror." Around them. We can't imagine as a generation, being left behind. We don't think of our generation getting left behind, but fuck we will. Oh my God. Like, you remember teaching your parents how to use a smartphone? And they just take a picture of their fucking neck, like you just get a message of their neck, like this area for some reason in the middle of the day, just that. Wait, they're working on a chip that connects your brain to the internet. Yeah, so we're going to be the ones you wait grandkids go, "Fucking granddad sent me a telepathic hologram today." It was just him going, "Barbecue, barbecue, 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 barbecue." Doesn't even know how to use it, the fucking idiot. Every generation, the music gets worse and worse. To we're grandparents, and music is just the sound of human excrement landed in water. You've got to watch all the kids going. They're watching going, "That's not fucking music!" In my day, we had real music. There was a man with herpes in a booth pressing a laptop button. It was real. And of course, like every generation, we think we're the most tolerant generation that's ever lived. We look back at our grandparents and go, "Our grandparents are so racist and sexist compared to us." Yeah, wait till we're grandparents and our tolerance has run out. And your granddaughter brings home a robot. No fucking robots in this house! Not after World War III! I don't trust them, they're sneaky, they steal! Granddad, don't say that! I'm gonna marry him! You don't marry a robot! It's not natural. Marriage is between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or a non-binary gendered person, or a transgender person, or a tri-gender person, or a queer gender person, or a non-gender, people that don't identify as a gender, the LGBTI plus people, plus, but inside plus, but also just plus, asexual people, pansexual people, my mate who identifies as a donkey, but no robots! It's fucking weird. You don't fuck Siri. Don't call them Siris, Granddad, that's offensive. You're all Siris to me, sweetheart. I've seen one, I've seen them all, I've seen the Siris, I've seen them down at the shops. Racists hate when ethnic minorities are at the shops. They're at the shops now! Racists are always at the shops. They're at the shops now! I see them around the shops! Fuck! They own shops that I'd never want to run! And somehow, out of that waterfall of trauma, came me and my brothers. Now, people always ask about me and my brothers because I'm a comedian. My brother Will is a world champion IndyCar driver. My brother Nick is a dance theatre choreographer, director, dancer. My brother Ken. All these different careers and dreams. Everyone's like, "Oh, wow, it's so amazing. Your parents must have been so supportive. Look at you all following your dreams." You don't follow your dreams, you escape into them. We need to nip this fucking following your dreams shit in the bud. It's just a bullshit religion that just ties beautifully in with consumerism. Keeping it light, that's not... Okay, so... You hide in your dreams from deep struggle. Like my brother Will won the Indy 500. He drove so fast in a circle he won. People are like, look at him following his dreams. Just terror. Just 400 k's an hour. I've got to have the fastest circle. He says things like that. This year I'm going to have the fastest circle. Look at him following his dreams. He's not running from anything. Are there any Willpower fans in? Yeah, we rarely draw the same audience. At the Adelaide Fringe, you know, they had the Clipsal 500 on at the same time, the V8 race. So people, they all come to see me because of my face and my name, that they know Will is, and they come. One year I just did this as a show. They're like, great fucking show, mate. You look like Will and you're a car, finally. Loved it when you parked. My brother Will is now one of the greatest drivers in the history of the entire sport. Like when you play the PlayStation game, he's the dude you select. I select him and drive repeatedly into the wall to overcome childhood trauma. Some different issue, trying to bring more kicks in as well. It's part of it. My brother's been racing his entire life, like since he was a kid. But my dad pushed him into a go-kart at age 6. This will fix me. And he's been racing. He said something really interesting to me recently, my brother. He said, because he's been racing so long, he goes, oh, when I win now, I pretend my hand is hurt, so I don't have to shake so many people's hands. So we've all got problems, haven't we? I don't know how many other people here suffer from congratulations fatigue, but it is a thing where it weighs you down. And my brother Nick left school at age 13 to become a break dancer in Toowoomba, regional Queensland. Dad called it cockhead dancing. Going to do your cockhead dancing, are you? Nick, spin on your head like a cockhead, are you? Fucking cockhead dancing. Now Nick tours the world, he sold out shows, critically acclaimed. Dad's like, oh yeah, right, you got me. I never supported or understand any of it, but well done, good on you. Now that's the thing, like, in our family there was always a divide because my dad raced cars, so like art wasn't a thing in Toowoomba. Like it just wasn't a thing that there was. And that's why with the family favoured motorsport so much. There's no interpretation of whether you're good at motorsport or not. You just win or you don't. With motorsport, it's just like simple. It's like car crossed line first, win, good. He won, no debate. That car first, fast, champion, good. It's not like art where it's like, there's the cars, but there's one guy who's not in the car yet. Perhaps that's a statement about climate change. Maybe this driver's the best, he's pretending he's in a car, but there is no car, and someone's there at the wine going, I think the car's meant to be all of us. Maybe we're all the car, yeah, it's true, it's so true. Who do you think Uncle Greg wants to talk to at the family barbecue? Will, the world champion IndyCar driver, or my brother Nick, who's a dance theatre director? Going up to Will, going, good on you, Will, that last circle was fucking incredible. Best circle yet, inspired, it's changed the way I do U-turns. Then going up to Nick, going, what have you been up to, young Nick? Well, Uncle Greg, I recently created a postmodern dance theatre piece that explores the cultural differences between Indigenous communities and Cambodian communities through postmodern dance. Did you fucking win? Hated art in Toowoomba, they hated it. It's hated, I remember my school principal was a former Australian rugby captain. He just employed his backline. The whole teaching staff were just his backline. Like, my arts teacher was a former halfback. He knew nothing about art. So he used to get us in a huddle. He'd teach the art class like a footy match. Get out there and fucking art! Art like you give a fuck! Out there! None of you's a fucking arting! We got Nudgy this weekend, paint a sculptor! Smith, get out there and you fucking get in there and art! Get in there and dig it art! Paint a swan! He had brain damage, so he couldn't say swan. He went, paint a swan! Swans are beautiful! Paint a black swan! Get in here and have an orange, like, you know, bring orange to every class, have an orange! Brings up the blood sugar for the art! As you know, I felt like a lot of pressure in my family to sort of be somebody and do something with my life. Because my brother Will was getting famous, he was racing Bathurst, and Nick was touring around and like big day out and living festivals and all this kind of cool stuff. And I was like, fuck, I've got to do. What do you do when you're anxious and depressed and unsure of what you want and who you are, and you know you're mentally ill and confused? You know, you sign up to an open mic night, don't you? I don't know if you've ever been to an open mic night, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a government initiative to get more vocal lunatics off the street, you know, to get them in one room and hear them, and give them a microphone. Well, what are they talking about now? Like, just to keep an eye on any fringe groups, you know, like. That's the thing, like, as a comedian, I have tremendous empathy for raving lunatics. Because comedians are this close to being raving lunatics. Like, just put my act on the street tonight without a microphone. Run, like at the cave, your dreams, the shadows! Can you get away from the shadows? Hard, swans! Like, how close is that to the dude you see? Seen that dude around Redfern Station? Like, with that fucking just a few bad gigs, we're like... Sometimes people can't tell the difference, they don't get it because they're not comedians. Like, I saw a dude screaming at a bin in the park just here, just arguing with a bin. Fuck you, but you have a fucking go with your dog, fuck you! Fucking trying to punch it and shit like that. And everyone's like, oh my god, what do we do? I'm like, leave, he's trying out a new bit. On the bin, like, let him fucking... Don't get me wrong, Will Anderson's a good bloke, but... I shouldn't fucking, that's a dumb joke. Will Anderson's actually a tremendous supporter of stand-up, it's incredible. He always gets new comedians, like when I started, he'd come to my show and give me notes, and absolutely honestly, and retweet my shows and stuff, and you know, he does that for every new comedian that's sort of coming up, and but he was the dude at the bin. Anyway, whatever, it's not... But that's how I sort of ended up instead of this tremendous... you could almost argue that me and my brother's dreams... they're like the shadows on the cave wall, aren't they? They're illusions that we're compelled by, these dreams. We're following them, but it prevents us from seeing the deeper truth outside the cave, which is confronting our toxic childhood and upbringing. I've shoehorned in that fucking shit and I've bogged the show down again. Yeah, that's why I kind of want to fucking get, you know, like more high energy kind of, you know, you ever seen Joel Creasy? He dances during his shows, I assume. I've never watched it. You know, like he seems like that stuff sort of lifted, I think. You know, I saw a sound effects comic and I was really inspired by that because, you know, you ever see sound effects comics or like sound effects guys are like they're always, you know, they're never dark or heavy. They're never like, I have repetitive intrusive thoughts. You know what I mean? You never see like a sound effects guy go, you can't sleep. You can't sleep, have repetitive racing thoughts about something Steve said 3 months ago. I can't stop thinking about it. Does he think he's better than me? Yeah, come on. They never talk about mental illness. Like, I say social, you say anxiety. Social. Yeah, there's a lot over here. Put your hands in the air. Come on. God is dead. God is dead. It's never like, oh, the shadows, the dreams, man, you know. But, you know, God is dead. There is no central moral authority anymore in our societies. You know, no one believes in God. Even people that say they do don't really. Like, you go up to a priest and go, is God real? They're like, no, of course not, but, you know, we're all having a laugh or whatever. Like, you know, we've got to keep it going now. Christmas is too good for the economy. It's too late now, we all pretend. Like George Pell's praying in jail, like, oh, you know, like, can you imagine? Like, God brings me, what the fuck? I need a lawyer. Like, can you imagine he's actually praying and God, why have you? Like, nobody really believes. That's the thing, like, if you're really struggling in your life, you know, you will hide in your dreams, inside them, you know, to give you meaning, purpose, and like this, you know, I'm somebody or whatever. And people do the same with beliefs. People hide in their beliefs. And often the more you're struggling, the stronger you hide in your beliefs, the stronger they become, often fatally. You know, like, have you ever met a conspiracy theorists, hardcore into their beliefs? Have you ever met a conspiracy theorist who's got a good life? Have you ever met a conspiracy theorist who's like, yep, married with kids, love a wife, got paid off the house, got lots of hobbies, friends, really happy actually, yeah. Lots of hobbies, play ultimate frisbee, love ultimate frisbee. Love that, yeah. I'm not winning in the competition because, you know, the competition's run by the Jews. People hide in their beliefs, you know, like I infiltrate One Nation supporter groups on Facebook. Their lives are fucked, like they're utter chaos, like they're fucking a mess, but they've got a belief to hide behind, you know, like people post things in the group like, oh, my wife ain't homeless now, she's a lesbian. No, bring more Muslims into the country. They don't want Anzac biscuits anymore. There won't be Anzac biscuits this year. It's hummus. And the weird, you know, the turnip, the pickled turnip, the purple dish. It's often about food. The dish that they're bringing. One guy was like, oh, my car broke down because the oil's halal. Used to be Dick Smith's blood. Obviously, you know, you can't blame major systemic issues on Islam. You know, you can't blame climate change on Islam. I saw one guy in there the other day trying to do that. Oh, you don't get it, mate, the kebab smoke forms pockets and the light doesn't escape the more. Really, that's the big problem, isn't it? Like, both sides of politics seem to be unable to affect major core systemic change, and the left, progressive people, we've been accused of that as well. You know, people say we're unable to affect change as politically progressive people, like real change, but people forget how incredible political correctness is as an achievement. Like, we've changed the way people think and talk. That's amazing. Like, people think and talk from every level of society differently forever now. Like, I have thought crimes. Like, I saw a dog today, oh, that dog's black, or is that a racial attack on the dog? Like, you know, like, the last time, that's incredible, like the last time there were thought crimes was in Catholicism. You couldn't cover your neighbour's ox, that was the first thought sin. Because I mean, you're always like, fucking ox, man, I can't stop thinking, like you're thinking about the ox all the time, fucking ox, man. How did he get such a big ox? This ox, man. And you're tossing and turning about the ox, sweating and shit. And you could go to a priest, a confessional. That's what they were for. You could go to a priest and be like, oh, have you sinned? Oh, this ox, man, you've got to see, it's so big. And he'd be like, oh, I do 10 Hail Marys, you're forgiven. And you'd be like, oh, thank God. And I think that's what we need with political incorrectness. Could we just have a priest we could confess to, you know, like a priest of the far left, like maybe, you know, an inner city male feminist content creator or something we could go to, you know. And he could be like, oh, how have you politically incorrected lately? And you'd be like, oh, look, man, I sort of bowed at Sushi Train. And he'd be like, oh, you have politically incorrected, retweet Clementine forward 10 times. progress we've made with political correctness and identity politics, we need to put the same vigour into systemic change. And we can't put it above systemic change, in my opinion. I saw an activist tweet, "I won't give white homeless people money because they dropped a white privilege ball." Imagine stepping over a homeless guy going, "Stop man-spreading in the area." We can't put these ideas above the economic system that we benefit from, that crushes people around the world. We can't put it, also you're going to go up to a homeless dude and go, "Hey man, you're white." "Oh, what? Oh fuck, I'm white! What am I doing?" Like he's just going to run into an office building, "I'm white!" And they're like, "Oh, go straight to CEOs." See on the news that night, Qantas has a new homeless CEO. Now dropping big issue from the planes. Really, honestly, I think the single biggest social issue we face is wealth inequality. I don't fucking know, but I've been in the belly of the beast. I did a corporate for Lamborghini Corporation. They called me up, I think they were like, "Daz, brother! Daz, 400 to get in the circle, brother! Get him in cars." They joined the dots. And they called me up and they said, "We want you to do 20 minutes of stand-up for Lamborghini Corporation and Lamborghini owners." And I said, "Well, does the ruling elite deserve laughter? Or should I show them a slideshow of homelessness?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, that sounds good, sounds funny." He's like, "Yeah, no, good funny stuff." So I'm showing them the slideshow and it is crushing. They laugh like this. "It's never going to trickle down. It never trickles down." That's how they laugh. I don't normally do this bit, but it's a weird gig story, relatable and so on. After the gig, they put on the guys who were running to put on cloaks when the language was on the cloak I'd never seen before, and they pulled out staves and started going, stomping like this, and they poured ashes in the middle of the circle they were stomping around. I don't know whether it was a dead person or animal or what. They poured these ashes, and then the ashes glowed red, and then, Rupert Murdoch came out. And it's a tough gig, fucking hell. Man, look, it's funny how both sides. You could almost argue that our beliefs, and they're like the shadows on the cave wall as well, aren't they? They're illusions, our beliefs, that we're so compelled by in society now that we're unable to walk away from them and step into the deeper truth outside the cave, which is that if we don't band together and modestly alter the economic system, we face extinction. Right, okay, no, who's been to a cafe? Who's been to cafes? Cafes you're eating your superfoods. I'm trying to get out of depression with blueberries now. I'm trying to use them as antioxidants to get out. You ever eat acai berries? That's relatable stuff. You see acai now? There's acai, the purple berry, Amazonia acai. You know what? I read something crazy about it. Apparently it's worshipped as a god in the Amazon, that berry. They worship it as a god of life, of the forest. The berry. They gather it and communally eat it in a circle. I order it through Uber Eats. And a dude from Peru brings it to me for $5, crying, "This is the source of life in our culture." I'm like, give me the 1 star, too political. I don't know. I'm alone in my Netflix cocoon. I don't want to hear. They want to make our houses now so we don't have to fucking leave. You heard about this? A smart fridge, smart kettle, smart washing machine, smart phone, car, stereo. Everything talks to each other and knows everything about you. So you come home from a date and your kettle's like, "I wouldn't have said that." You're like, "Fuck you, kettle." The washing machine's like, "He's right, it's weird." "Fuck you, washing machine." You're always siding with the kettle, just walking around your house. What'd you say, lights? I go, going mad. You could die, no one would know. The vacuum cleaner has to call the police. Because the more material wealth we have, the less community. That's what I think the sacrifice is, is that the more material wealth, the less community. And people always talk about white men as the privileged benefactors of our economy. And that's why we're the least communal, because we have the most material wealth. Like, have you ever hung around middle-aged white men? I'm going to go to pick up my son from school. They're so awkward and like, g'day Roger, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah. This is what someone who doesn't have a community looks like. Yeah, g'day Roger, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, no, how's Vanessa? Yeah, good to see you. The women are having a bit of a ching. Yeah, wag, aren't they? What's that? Is that that's plywood. Yeah, I've got you know who I am. Yeah, good on you, Roger. Yeah. Like, think about it. Middle-aged white man, which I'm rapidly becoming, is, the least communal people on the planet. Like, if you saw 40 white middle-aged men hanging out in the park, something fucked is happening, isn't it? Like, look at the beautiful gathering community. Like, get back, kids. Hello, police. There's 40 white middle-aged men hanging out in the park. No, they're just trying to hang out, be friends. It's weird. Like a whole area, people go, Roger, Tim, I thought you were, no, you're right, good to see you. Yeah. It's the whole area. Yeah, good, yeah, Tim, Roger, yeah, no, it's good, yeah. The council's done a good job. They've mowed the, yeah, it's good they're keeping the council doing a good job with the area. This is where the revolution's starting, I guess. I don't know what we're revolting against. Like, we're going to take power, or keep it, I guess. The other day I was doing that weird thing, like with another dad, doing that whole thing. Like, yeah, Richard, the sun is hot. Just the comparison between us and our kids. Our kids are running around, woo! Just having the best time, loose and free. Yeah! Like they were like, the verandas, and woo! Yes. Fences are a big one. Got a fence. Go up to any dude like, yeah, you got a fence, mate? Yeah, fences now. And woo, the kids are running around, woo, my son runs over here, Daddy, can we have a sleepover? I'm going to have a sleepover with Timmy. Just met the dude. Not for any agenda or anything, just pure friendship and happiness. We're not doing that as adults. I'm not like, yes, of course Timmy can have a sleepover. And what about you, Richard? Would you like to come for a sleepover? We'll continue our stunted chat about tax reform. I'm sure we can keep that going. Everyone's talking about it, like why are so many people in our society so unhappy with so much material wealth? And I think that's why, we lack community. I think like antidepressants are like the gap we're missing. Like they try to fill the gap in happiness that we're missing. So many people are on, it's fucking crazy. I saw something like, there's so much antidepressants used in society that fish are taking them through the water from us, pissing them out. The fish are like all like manic. Anyway, like you couldn't tell with fish, could you? It's like, yeah, he needs them, he's a bit anxious. And it doesn't matter. Anyway. This is how much I value the wrong things. Like it's so, like it seems like, even though I know it, making it bigger as a stand-up won't make me happy. I fucking know it. Even so, when I had a bad season, I went on antidepressants. That's how much I value stand-up over other shit, which is, I know it's controversial to say that I don't believe antidepressants work. I know that's controversial because statistically there's loads of people here on them, and I've been on them, and maybe manic and fat, and I couldn't come. So I wouldn't say I was happy, per se. I actually went to the doctor and he's like, how are the pills going? I'm like, good, I just can't finish or whatever. And ladies and gentlemen, he looked me in the eyes and he he goes, "Is ejaculating important to you?" I was like, "Yeah, man, it's one of my core values." It's honesty, integrity, and coming. They're the three big values. It's actually on our family crest. It's a hawk, a hammer, and a dick with cum coming out of it, scrawled on there, like a toilet wall. Men love that, don't they? Drawing dicks on toilet walls, don't we? Every toilet in the fucking world. Oh, I've got my dick out of there to draw another dick. We're in the dick room or whatever. Women, do you draw vaginas on toilet walls? No, exactly. You see the difference? To be fair, if you did, you'd be like, what is that, a custard tart? Like, there's no universal symbol. There's no universal symbol, you know what I mean? Like, this looks like a dick, that sort of looks like a dick, that looks like a dick, that looks like a dick, everything looks like, I think maybe that's how the patriarchy started. Everyone was like, oh, you know, everything looks like a dick, we'll get the dick people to run things. I don't know. Something to discuss later. It's a good point about the dick people. Do you ever, like, that's part of like this thing of like getting bigger as a comic, you know, this urge or whatever, for being 14 years into sort of doing this shit, it's like, do you ever feel like you're going to become irrelevant? I think that, I don't know if you guys feel that in your jobs, but in this it's just like, you worry you're just going to, if you don't get famous, you just disappear in stand-up. It's fucking weird. Even though, like, I used to feel that, like, even working in an office, because you're so replaceable in you know, our society, like, you can just be replaced, you know. Like, I remember, I used to work in IT support until I got fired for turning up on magic mushrooms. You know, which is dumb, because it made me better at my job. I could feel the printers or whatever, but you know, it's that feeling of like holding in so much. Like the boss would come up to me and go like, "Oh, Damien, why haven't you changed the toner cartridge on the printer? The toner cartridges need changing." And I said, "Oh, well, I didn't realise that." And he goes, "Well, they do, and you're letting the whole team down," and just walks off. Now I'm not going to go up to him and go, "What the fuck do you say? Come here and say, you fuckhead." Like, get all tall on, "Fuck, come here and say it. Fucking dog, cunt, fucking go on." I'm not going to do that, am I? What do you do? What do you do? I was like, "Oh, sorry, excuse me, I'll get right on that, excuse me." Then the revenge fantasies begin, don't they? That's when the revenge fantasies begin. We all have one in this room right now. Somebody didn't text you or someone just rattling around in there. You walk around and go, "Fucking talk to me like that. He said that to my face. You know what, I'm going to grab him and tell him I'm going to fucking quit in front of him." And as the time goes on, it gets bigger and bigger. The fantasy, I'm going to kill his family. I'm going to kill his family. I'm going to kill every member of his family and leave a different coloured toner cartridge on every body. Going to save cyan for him. Just tossing and turning, losing sleep over Roger at work or whatever. Like, oh, and your girlfriend's like, "You were screaming last night. Something about the magenta murderer." And that's part of it, you know, I feel exactly the same way about stand-up now, like more so the longer I do it. It's just like, no, it seems like, this is going to seem really dumb, I think, but like what triggered all this sort of feeling of like, fuck, now what kind of thing is, like I got offered my first cruise ship gig, you know, which is 14 years in, I'm like, yeah, no, I'll do the cruise ships. Like, comics hate when I talk about the cruise ships. Oh, what's wrong with the Pacific Jewel? Exactly. What exactly is wrong with the Pacific Jewel? You know? I'm like, nothing. It's my favourite floating cultural genocide. Some of my best friends and favourite comics are on cruise ships now. And because they're on and they want me on them. Because you know when your friends do fucked up shit and they want you to do it as well so they feel better? It's like that, it's like the ship of the dead. You know on Pirates of the Caribbean? There's the dead ship that's just a ghost ship with all dead pirates. It's like that, they're beckoning me. Join us. Join us, there's a buffet. Join us. You might have to do a kids show. Join us. Why are you working with kids? International waters, there's a loophole. Join us. And it's weird to be 14 years on the shoreline going, not yet, I've got business with the living, just let me finish that. That's, you know, like, that's the thing, it's like what you dream of in your life, like where you'll be and where you are, like that discrepancy, there's always like a lot of anxiety about that. You ever wonder like where this notion of following your dreams comes from? It's something we don't really question, like where the fuck does that idea come from? It's kind of interesting, every major corporation wants us to follow our dreams real bad. Like every ad's like, follow your dreams are important to us. Where are your dreams? We design dreams, we create them. Your dreams, Like there's a Toyota ad at the moment that's like, dreams are hard, and then it's like, yay, and dreams, and then Westpac or whatever. Like it's so weird that every corporation's like, dreams, your dreams, follow your dreams. I'm suspicious. Myself. Because following your dreams keeps you in a constant state of anxiety and consumption because you're never quite there, you never quite got it. I'll travel, I'll fucking buy the laptop, I'll get the business loan, I'll get the shoes, I'm going to be a basketball player, whatever. You just never quite stop. You know an ad you'll never see? Everything's fine. Samsung. Just everything's okay, you're fine. Everything's fine, you're alright, you look great. Everything's okay now. It's fine now, everything's okay. You've got lots of friends and family, you've got enough money, everything's okay, everything's going to be alright. You don't need any more, everything's alright. Toilet duck, a family company, or whatever. You're never going to see that ad. That's why so often we arrive at our dreams or the things we fantasised about and we feel completely empty sometimes. You know, we see celebrities on TV, like, oh, they're so unhappy. Why? They've got everything. You know, my dream when I started stand-up was to be on TV with Dave Hughes. And finally, after 14 years, I got that, and it was a living nightmare. I got to do Hughes, We Got a Problem. And I got to admit, my sense of humour has changed a lot over the years. Like now, I think the most fucked thing imaginable is funny. That's just my sense of humour. And I was on this audition thing where they tape the show, and it either goes to air or it doesn't. And Hughes is there and he asks you, what's your problems in life? He's like, oh, what's your problem? And I was like, oh, I was molested. Nothing, got nothing. I'm like, that's the funniest shit anyone's ever said on this show. All the other comedians are like, no, man, I can't riff off that. I'm like, really? I built a whole career out of it. The producer pulled me aside, like, you're too intense for this program. And kicked me off the show during the thing. And the same fucking thing happened, like, Triple M changed breakfast hosts. And again, they called me, and I live in Brisbane, they came in Brisbane, Triple M said, come in and audition. And during the show, you know, again, it'd be billboards, triple the money, all this stuff. But finally, they said, what we need you to do is do a prank call during this session to prove you can improvise. So I had to do a prank call. And I had to pretend I was a bad plumber that had done a job for this host friend or whatever. And I had to call up this guy, he was like, yeah, g'day, this is Trevor. And I put on my best radio voice. G'day, Trevor, this is John the plumber who came in the morning. Oh, yeah, John, what do you think about the plumbing? Well, mate, we had a look, we reckon it's about 300 grand damage. What? 300 grand, mate? You're fucking kidding yourself. 300 grand? Yeah, mate, your wife said it's okay to start work. What? You're not coming on my property, mate, 300 grand, fucking bullshit. Just kidding, mate. It's Damo from Triple M Breakfast, mate. Got you later. Oh, Damo. You bastard. You got me, you bastard. Jesus. How did you get my number? You molested me. Gotcha. We have gotcha. The police are coming, actually. Interesting joke, that one. Anyway, about that sense, like it's that sort of thing of what we value, and then when we get it, we think our dream's gonna give us everything. Like, oh, when I get this promotion, when I get that, or when I get there, or I get the body, or whatever it is, then I'll be happy. We see it so often. We're totally complexed why we don't feel that way. Like my brother Will won the world championship. Fuck. And he said something crazy to me. It blew my mind. He goes, you know what? I'm still not happy. And And I was like, of course, fuck, it made sense. It's like you don't get the trophy and the metaphysical concept of your dad's approval. Like you don't get an orb, so you don't have to anymore. And that's the thing, you know, it's like, I feel like it has to end here, I'm sorry, it has a thematic. No, it's just, I feel like in my life I put so much value on these dreams and these external things to make me happy that you often sacrifice intrinsic things like friends, family, time with my son. Those intrinsic things, I think, it's like a balance, I think, between your dreams and beliefs and like the external things will make you happy. And I feel like less and less in our society we value the intrinsic things, courage, empathy, being a good person, honesty, caring for other people. And I think the more that these can win out, like if you don't foster those things, I think, in my experience in my life, you can arrive at your ultimate fantasy and feel completely empty. I feel like if you can just maybe interrogate why you hold the dreams and beliefs you hold, why they're so important to you, why those dreams and beliefs, if you can just interrogate them, where they came from and why they're so important to you, I think that is the first step on the path to deeper truth.